Masterwork paintings are really judged based on three criteria: drawing, color, and composition. Now, we often hear that art is subjective. Well, that's not true. An individual person's appreciation or understanding of art is subjective, but art itself is not subjective. It's no more subjective than a plane that can fly in the air or a building that can stand without falling. Painting has requirements based on the culture, the style, the time period. And so masterworks must conform to certain ideals within that stylistic system or culture or region, time period. It's as simple as that. But I want to draw your attention to a Chakrasambara painting. Now, I date it to 14th century, late 14th century. Sometimes people date it to early 15th century, but I think that doesn't really matter so much. It doesn't really matter because we have a general date, but we do not have inscriptions. As far as I know, there are no date inscriptions or artist names on the front or back of the painting. But the central subject is Chakrasambara in his complex form with 4 faces, 12 arms, 2 legs, and he's embracing the consort Vajrayogini. Now, we say Vajrayogini here because we do not have any indication or a drawing of a boar's head. So if there was a boar's head, then we could rightfully call it a Varahi, a Vajravarahi form of Vajrayogini. But here we don't have that evidence. We're not completely sure of the tradition it's coming out of, Chakrasambara tradition, of the 3 main traditions of Luipa, Krishnacharan, and Gantapa. It's more likely to be a Luipa because both legs are up, although it could be Gantapa. The Krishnacharan tradition, the Vajrayogini always has 1 leg down. Also, the faces here don't always, the colors of the faces don't follow exactly necessarily one or the other of the traditions, because we do have controversy with how the 4 faces are colored and what colors belong on the right or left side. Now, what is spectacular about this painting is because it's in a Newar style, but it's clearly done for a Tibetan market. It's done for a Tibetan donor. And the donor most likely belongs to the Sakya tradition, based on the bottom right-hand corner, the viewer's right-hand. There's a small Sri Devi, and the Sri Devi, goddess wrathful riding a donkey, she's done in the Sakya style, not done in the Naropa style, which is popular with the Marpa Kagyu tradition. Now, this doesn't mean that it's really a Sakya painting. It could be from Shalu as well, which is a branch of Sakya. Along the top, we have some deities that are very popular with Buddhism in the Kathmandu Valley, like Yogambara, and some a little bit rare forms of Chakrasambara that come out of the different types of Chakrasambara tantras. Chakrasambara tantra is not one thing; it's actually a cycle of tantras. There's a number of different Sanskrit texts, but also at the top we have 4 forms of Vajrayogini. We have the Maitrikachari. We have the Shalnima, the Vajravarahi form coming down from Indrabhuti. Then we have the Naro coming from Naropa. And then we also have Chinnamasta, which is the severed-headed yogini in the top right corner. And then we also have quite a clear Virupa seated in a cemetery scene on the upper right. We have Nagarjuna on the left. And then we have really what's framing the Chakrasambara here are the 8 great cemeteries which would surround the mandala of Chakrasambara. And within the cemeteries there are certain required objects like a pond, a tree, a cloud, a worldly Hindu god, and then also there are siddhas. And in the Tibetan custom, most likely coming from late period India, a custom of placing some of the early known siddhas who became mahasiddhas, placing them in the cemeteries. And then there are different systems in Tibet. There can be Kagyu, there can be Sakya, and there can be others, but there's different systems of what mahasiddhas you choose to put in the cemetery. So this follows a little bit more of a Sakya model. But when you look at the central figure and you see the faces, you see all of the hand attributes, you see the articulation of the arms and the colors, it really does just stand out as being a phenomenal painting within this subject class of Chakrasambara. And this painting lives in the Los Angeles County Museum of Art. It's quite large. It's really about 54 inches by 45 inches. It's quite large size. It has had some conservation work, and I believe this was done by Victoria Blythe Hill about 20 years ago, or in the late 90s. And the work is very well done. The painting is a true treasure and one of the best examples of Chakrasambara. So press the like button, you can subscribe, and you can also help support the work we do on HAR on Patreon.